It's in really good shape, Bill.
Well, it ain't bad. You should have seen it before, though. The inside of it's pretty rough. There was no glass in it, no interior. It was perfect for this job.
Okay.
What am I looking at? A 19 what?
Well, the car's actually a 41.
Mm-hmm.
They had the same body style from 41 to 48. It's got a 49 Mercury flathead in it. Well, it's actually a Ford Mercury. I got Mercury and cam and heads on a Ford short block that I completely rebuilt. Motor that I've had for many, many years. And the rest of it's all stock from there back. The rear end, the transmission, it's all original Deere stuff.
So what intrigued you to get this 1941 car and the number 18? What's the story
Well,
here?
that's the start of it all. That's where the number 18 came from. My father and another man owned a jalopy together. They had another guy, a third guy that drove it named Don Strain. And he'd driven cars before, had his own cars. He was, back in the day, was quite a good driver. And they used to run it up here on the hill at Coon Road on Sunday afternoons. And I'd go up and sit in the stands with my mother and watch it. Then every now and then they'd take it to State Line, run a 100 lap with it. And that's how I got the bug to go racing. And I just, in later years, just got it in my head I wanted to build a copy of it. I've got some pictures I want to show you. This particular car was number 18.
And so this would have been a replica again of a car which your dad would have been involved in, right?
It is, and I think where the number 18 came from, if I remember right, my dad's partner, Carl Larson, they nicknamed him Swede. He was very tall, Swede.
Yeah.
Had a daughter named Sandy, and I think she was 18 years old. Don was good. Don was a very nice man, but I'll tell you what, he was good.
Yeah.
I can tell you a story about this car, how good he was.
Okay.
They used to run this car at Coon Road, had a flathead in it, and he'd do all right. He'd do all right. One day he was winning a feature up there. It would have been the first one I ever see him winning. It blew up from turn 4 to the flag. It blew up in the front straightaway. I still remember it. My father came out there in his little old Chevy pickup, and they hooked onto it and towed it home. And there was a 100 lapper coming up at State Line, Labor Day 1961. And they said, well, I guess we won't be able to run that. We don't have no motor to run. And in the meantime, my dad had bought a rolled over 56 Pontiac and laid in his barn. Bought it for parts for his road car. And he come home from work one day, and he worked at the garage with Swede, and he said, well, I guess we're going to race. We're going to put that Pontiac engine in the racer, which wasn't legal, of course. And I said, well, that's cool, you know, because like I say, I'm 9 years old. You got to remember all this. I'm just a kid at the time. And so to State Line, they went with it. And there was probably 50, 60 cars in that 100 lapper. You know how them 100 lappers used to be. And I'm sitting in the stands with my mother, and I don't know where he's running. I see him keep going around and around and around. And you know, back then, this left front tire used to be really small. They put a real little tire on the left front, big tire on the right front. And the yellow came out somewhere around, the last yellow I remember was somewhere around 70-some laps. And of course, old Lloyd Williams was announcing, you know, and that voice, you could never forget that voice, ever. He was a great man. He comes on the loudspeaker and he goes, there's 70-some laps down, and 20-some to go, and Don Strain's out front, the number 18, but anything can happen. I thought, holy shit, he's leading. No, it's a true story, I swear to God. And there's two guys sitting in front of me and my mother. And they're going around on a yellow flag, and the one guy turned to the other one and he said, if that number 18's got a flathead in it, I'll kiss your ass. And they had the sides covered up. They built panels, so you couldn't see the engine for that particular race. Because they wanted to just run the race, you know. They probably knew they were going to get caught, you know. So anyway, pretty sure it wasn't legal anyway. The old man said he didn't think it was legal. So anyway, they ran about 5 more laps after that, and the left front blew. And Strainer was still leading the thing. And a couple more laps after that, the right front blew, and he went in the pits, and that was the end of it. But I'll never forget that night. And I'm telling you, those two guys, I swear to God, those were their exact words. Oh, that's a flathead in there, I'll kiss your ass. And Don Strain could drive a race car. There's no doubt in my mind after watching that. Because he was leading. I didn't know it at first. But another story I got to tell you. This back bumper right here. I was at the garage one time where they worked on the car, where they had their business. And somebody, I don't remember who it was, I never knew who, somebody knocked the back bumper off the car. And Carl was putting the back bumper back on it. And he made it out of channel iron just like that. And he cut it off with a torch on the ends. And Don was there, and my dad was there, and I was hanging around with him. And it was kind of rough where he cut it off with the torch. And he went to get the grinder. And Don says, "What are you doing with that?" And Carl said, "Well, I'm going to smooth it up." He said, "No, you're not." He said, "You leave it just like that." I said, "Because when that Gilbert kid hits me again," he said, "Well, cut his tie." I swear to God. He says, "These are true stories. I was there. I was there." Things like that I remember. You know, when I built that bumper, I remembered that whole deal.
Oh, so there you go. Got a little rough edge to it.
Did a little rough here for
Well,
the Gilbert
I
boys, huh?
smoothed mine up. But then there's another story I got to tell quick, and then I'll quit reminiscing too much about this. But after my dad's partner died, they got out of the racing. Like I say, my dad got out. But his engine was still in the car, that Pontiac engine. And they were going to sell the car. Well, Dick had a buddy, Gilbert had a buddy that wanted to buy the car. And they bought the car. So we're down to their shop, my dad's shop, and they're pulling the motor out of it, him and Don. And I'm sitting in the car, like I used to do whenever I got the chance, you know, pretending I'm driving it. And it had a Lincoln radiator in it. And Lincoln radiators are big,
Big.
real big.
Why?
And I remember Don saying to my dad, "Boy, I sure would like to have that Lincoln radiator." And my dad said, "Well, there's some more in the garage." He said, "Take that and we'll put one of the other Ford ones in the car." Because the radiator was supposed to go with the car. Everything but that engine was supposed to go with the car. And Don goes, "No," he said, "that Gilbert killed. He'll spot that right away." And I was there when Dick Gilbert came to pick this car up. And that's the first thing he said. Honest to God, where's that Lincoln radiator? You know, those kind of things are priceless to me.
I'm looking at behind you a car that's a 1941, I believe, and it says 18 Don Strain. And you see this today for probably maybe the first time in a while.
Yeah.
What do you think of when you see this car?
I think of my husband racing. He always done racing. That's all he thought about. He just liked racing. Anything he could get hold of, he just was racing all the time. Oh yeah, I went to all the races.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember some of the tracks?
Sulphur Springs. And there was one up on the hill. It was on Coon Road.
Coon Road. Did he work all week on the cars, or was there?
Yeah, he worked on them. Well, we had a place where he worked outside. He unplugged my stove and plugged in the welder and worked on his stock car.
I love it.
That's what he did. I couldn't do no cooking because he was welding on a stock car.
That's a great story. When he was driving and you're with the young kids getting dirt all over you, I'm sure. What did you feel like when your husband's out there driving around?
I keep an eye on him. I couldn't watch the other cars. I'd watch him. So.
Did Don have some success?
Oh yeah, he won. He's got quite a few trophies.
Remember if Don made any money racing?
I
Or
don't.
did he just do this for fun?
Mainly for fun and got trophies. That's about it. He had one car, it had a lemon on it, and he'd roll that over every weekend to get, so just for the fun of it.
So this would have been one of the jalopy tracks here. He would, as an exhibition, roll it over?
Yeah, that was. I think that was at Sulphur Springs.
I think they paid $5 for that.
Yeah. Oh, we used to. He had his ranchero there. He'd pull that stock car and he'd go about 90 miles an hour. That's my daughter.
What was that?
He had that ranchero that Donald's got, and he pulled that with he pulled the stock car with that. And he used to go around Ripley Hill, up Ripley Hill, about 80, 90 around them curves. I don't know.
Really? Towing the race car.
Yeah.
Oh my word! He had recollections you might have.
I just remember one time one guy kept pushing him out and spinning him out. The guy tipped over and Dad come around and slammed right into the top of his car.
Really?
Yeah.
Don Strain had a habit. Every now and then he'd be talking to you and he'd wink at you like that. Want to make his point. He was a very nice man. And he was always very nice to me as a little kid.
Surprised that running board's got anything left to it, Bill.
Well, you know what's kind of funny about this car? There's parts of it that are solid as hell yet. And there's other parts that are pretty sad. This floor was all gone.
Yeah, I can see the floor. Well, you said it was parked outside. That's why.
Yeah, but you know, see what I mean about it was perfect stock car material?
Yeah.
I mean,
The dash is solid. Look at
could
that.
be brought back, I suppose, but let's see what happens. If I remember right, his name was Nelson Button. Drove this car the very first time. And I think he drove it once. Yeah. And that was the end of him. And the next thing I know, Dad said, we're going to have Don Strain drive it. And Don drove it all the rest of the time because they wanted a good driver.
Yeah.
And so then years and years and years went by, and I never had a picture of this car. Never.
Oh.
And it wasn't until just a few years ago I asked Donnie one day, I said, when I found out he was Don's grandson, I said, you don't have any pictures of that car, do you? And he brought me a picture of it. He got a picture from him. And I always thought that was really cool, and I've had that picture ever since he gave it to me. And then I found this old coupe on the internet, on eBay, and the wheels started turning, and I thought, I'm going to build a copy of that car. Because I wanted my dad to keep that car way back when, but he didn't want to stay in it. After his partner died, after Larson died, he wanted out. But it's because of this car I wound up racing, you know, and that's why I'm doing it now, because just to do it, I guess. Memory of all the old time guys that used to run these kind of cars. Because I knew a lot of them. I used to watch, didn't know them all, but I watched a lot. Just a memory, yes. Memory game.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're very welcome. I wish Don was here.
So do I.
I'm sure you do.